I used to walk a lot better than I do right now. And I used to ride my bike about 1,000,000 times better than I'm capable of right now. And it's been 9 years since I ended up having my life-changing accident where I suffered a spinal cord injury and also a traumatic brain injury. And in those past 9 years, I've been trying my best to try to adapt to this new life of mine. And it's really difficult working with this body that I can't fully control, and then also knowing that I can do every single trick mentally but not do it physically. And it's been really hard adapting to that. But lately I've been riding my e-mountain bike and I've been able to enjoy myself. I've been riding downstairs, I've been hitting jumps, I've been jumping off of stuff to flat, and it's been amazing for me to have that. But the truth is, I'm a BMX rider at heart, and I've been wanting to be back on the BMX bike, but the BMX bike is really difficult for me to ride. You can see these crash clips right here. It's really hard because I don't have any control, I don't have any balance, and my body doesn't have any reaction time, so when it hits the fan, it really hits the fan. But today, I am starting the build of my dream bike. Truth is, I've been waiting about 9 months to get my hands on this bike right here. It's a We the People Swamp Master. It's got 20-inch wheels. It looks like a BMX bike, but if you look closely, there are some very big differences to a regular BMX bike. And let me show you guys. Now, the main thing that separates this BMX bike from any other BMX bike is the fact that it has suspension. It has a Manitou front suspension forks on it, and on the back of the frame, it has a RockShox built-in suspension system. Now this is going to allow me to be able to jump this bike and land and not have my body absorb the impact. Hopefully have the suspension do the job. Now this is an almost perfect bike for me, but the thing that is missing for being a perfect bike for me, we have an option today, and I think it's going to be pretty epic, and I'm excited to share it with you guys. Now, trying to find an e-system that was going to work on this BMX bike turned out to be a lot harder than we expected. Me and my brother were getting desperate. We were going to take another e-bike, chop it all up, take all the components, and fabricate it onto that. It was going to be heavy, it was going to be ugly, it was going to look ridiculous, but I had to do what I had to do because I need an e-system to be able to ride the bike like I want to. Until my brother sent me a link that changed everything. Right here is the Elevate by Bimotal. This is the actual motor. How small it is. It's crazy. Now this is going to attach on the back of the bike and be able to power this bike. Now the whole system with this motor and the battery and all the other components combined is 8 pounds. That is nothing when it comes to all the power that this is going to give me and all the ability to be able to enjoy the bike. So we're going to show you exactly how this thing gets installed, even though it is not meant for a bike like that. There's very little modification that we need to do to make this system work, and this is going to be a game changer for me, and it can also be a game changer for a lot of you as well. So let me get installing this bike. We're gonna build it, we're gonna get this thing rolling, and I'm so excited to see how it goes. Let's do it. All right, so we are moving on to the process, and right here is the bracket for the battery. As you can see, those 2 slots are where the bolts go, and that usually goes in on the bottle cage. Now, since this BMX bike has no bottle cage, we had to figure out a place to put it, and it actually fits perfect in this little gap. As you can see, the pictures that I have right here from our test fit. So now what we're going to do is drill some holes to put into the frame because we're gonna put some rib nuts in there so we can attach it safely and securely. So here we go. So now we have the holes all cleaned up, looking really good. So the next step, we are going to attach some rivet nuts in there. And now we are moving on to the install of the actual battery tray. And I am so glad that this thing fits on my bike as clean and as perfect as it does. Once we get this battery installed, it almost looks like it was made for this, even though clearly I know it wasn't. I'm just glad that so far so good. So now we have the bike in the stand and we are starting to take some components off of it because there's a few things we need to change out. BK is currently taking off the brake rotor to put on a new one. And this is so cool. If you look at that disc right there, it has an actual gear that's on it. That is going to be the gear used to run this system. It's so cool, it's so clean, and I'm so excited I get to put this on my bike. So now we are putting the bracket on the back of the bike. This bracket is crucial for this system because it sits on top of where the brake mount would go. Now the brake attaches to it, and then once all said and done, we have it all set up, the motor will attach to it as well. So this is very, very important, and we're going to explain a little bit what we have to do to make this work. Now, if you see on this, what kind of brakes are these, BK? Why don't you tell everybody? And we ordered these because
They were the ones that were on their website.
Well, yes, we saw that these
But
were
no, they requested a 4-piston caliper.
to fit on top of that. This bike only came with dual piston calipers, so now we have 4-piston calipers. So we have a nice brake setup on here. So yeah, if you're getting this system, you have to have 4-piston calipers. I'm not sure if every 4-piston caliper works, but I'm sure you can ask Bimotal. They would love to answer this one. So, but we're going to install this, and we're going to go over all the details of what it takes to get there. All right, so we actually just had to do a decent amount of math to figure out exactly how we're going to do this. PK, yeah, PK,
All people, me.
definitely his specialty is math, so we let him do that one straight away. But why don't you explain to everybody what you had to do kind of to
So I had to find the distance between the bottom of the axle to the top of the mount, and then subtract the actual center of the bolt to get the actual height of the shims to run the motor properly.
Yep, because we want the motor to, have the gears on the brake rotor and also on the motor itself. So we had to figure that one out. You guys will have to do that also on yours, but they do a really good job. They have a nice graph to show, what you need for it, and you can figure out which shims you put on. So we have ours set up, and we're going to put it all together soon. So we're making some progress on the build. After we did all of our math, we got it all sorted out. And it looks good. Yeah, it looks really good. The gear looks really happy on there, and it's spinning freely. Watch, Brooklyn will give it a little bit of a spin. Just think about that. Everything gets attached to it, and it has very little resistance. So that just goes to show how amazing that motor system is. But yeah, so far so good. I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like on the other side, and we are starting to mess with the cables, and then we're also gonna do the throttle soon. And this is exciting, man. It's really coming together, and it looks so cool. And here's a look from the outside to show you what the motor looks like when it's attached on there. I think, considering this is only a 20-inch wheel, I thought the motor was gonna look big, but it actually looks better on there than I expected. Like, it doesn't look huge or anything, and this thing's coming together, man. This is insane. So right now we have all hands on deck. We are putting all the cables into position. BK right now is taking the small screws, and he's actually attaching them so that they are secured on there.
Actually, I'm watching someone have issues right now.
Yeah, just let him have issues. Don't even worry about him. Just let him do that in the background. You know how he is.
Ridiculous.
So yeah, but it's pretty cool. So those screws are going to go into place and keep the cable from detaching while you're riding, which is super thoughtful. But yeah, there's a lot to figure out up here. You can see there's just a lot of cables. All right, so we have everything hooked up right now. So we're kind of going to do a test to see if it's actually working. So how do you turn it on, BK? What's the game plan
There's
here?
going to be a little on switch right here. Once it turns green, you have power.
So technically, yes.
It's like a dyno.
Now it's time to hide the cables, and we'll do a check-in and show you what it looks like. After a little sorting everything out, we finally have it ready to go. And Maddie was the first one to cruise around on it. Well, actually, Brooklyn was. He was super excited.
Stole it immediately.
But Maddie said he's having so much fun on it. And just look at how awesome this bike looks, man. Like, I literally have a BMX bike that is full suspension with an electric motor on it. Maddie said that they went around with his Strava, and it said 15 mile per hour, just as we expected, since it has a 20-inch wheel. So if it had a bigger wheel, it would go around 20 mile per hour. So, but this thing is amazing, and I am so excited to be able to ride this thing. I'm just so glad that my brother sent me the link for this system. Like, this is a complete game changer for me, and my use for this is way different than the use that they designed it for, right? So what they designed it for was that people can go and ride on trails, and you can actually bring yourself up hills and then enjoy riding down them again, and also just give you a little bit of extra help. For me, somebody who is handicapped and disabled, I'm not a normal person when it comes to riding, so to be able to have that throttle, to be able to get me in and out of situations, or just give me a little bit more speed so I can just enjoy myself, is going to be amazing. But I'm just so impressed on how clean this system looks. Right here, we ended up putting this up top right here. This is not how it's supposed to be. It's just supposed to go wrap underneath of it, but we're just sorting this out. We're just trying to figure out the best way for us to do this and come up with a game plan. But man, this installation was super easy, and it was super straightforward. and I am just so grateful that I have this system. So thank you so much, Bimotal, for giving me this system, and I'm just honored. I really am, and I just want you to know that you're literally making, you know, a handicapped guy's dream come true of having his own BMX bike that potentially he could enjoy himself on again. It's been a long time, you know, since my accident happened. We're coming up on 9 years in October, and still not being able to be a BMX rider like I used to, it's a reality that I'm living with. But the fact is, you know, having a bike with suspension, having electric, is something that didn't even exist back when my accident happened. And now I'm gonna be able to play around with that, which is gonna be super cool. So I've actually been doing some work getting this thing ready to go for my big ride. I figured we'd do it now behind the shop instead of showing up at like a skate park or whatever we're gonna be riding tomorrow, and trying to figure it all out. Maddie was riding and it was super torquey. So I jumped on it and I tried to do it, and it was way too torquey for somebody like me. It's just a little bit too much power. And since it has the 20-inch wheels that are smaller than the bigger bikes, this one's going to have even more torque compared to the other bikes that this system is designed for. But what's awesome about it is Bimotal has an app. The app is super convenient, and you're able to make adjustments on there. You can tune your own settings. So me and Maddie actually sat back here going over our settings, and I'm gonna put my settings right here so you can check it out. We ended up doing something that was actually pretty similar to the range settings. You can see as I'm going back and forth between the two, only the two center parts are the ones that we changed. So which is peak power and also throttle responsiveness. So that's the only two differences between range and my custom trail map that we made. But if you look at boost is all the way. Everything's turned up. It's a lot of torque. I mean, for any rider, any like normal rider, they'd be having so much fun doing it. But for me, I can't do that. I need to do something a little bit safer, a little less responsive, because I just don't have enough reaction time. But this app has been awesome, and the bike feels so good. And I'm so excited that the dream bike is finally coming together after like 10 months of waiting just to get this bike over here at the bike shop. Bimotal was awesome with helping me out getting this Elevate system. They sent this thing over. I begged for it. I'm not too proud to say it. Like, this thing is so cool, and I am just so honored that I got a chance to work with them and get this system. So if any of you are out there thinking about looking into this system, I'm going to put the link in the description below. And like I said, these are made for trail bikes. This is made for people that are trying to climb hills, you know, that are super steep, that need a little bit extra help, or maybe just to get yourself around without pedaling on certain things. Like, there's so many different uses for it. And mine is very interesting. But I'll tell you this, the system is top notch, and everything, the way it went together was really impressive. And I'm just so excited for the future. I'm just excited to be back on a BMX bike, and them giving me this opportunity to have an e-BMX bike with full suspension. Like, this is just dream come true. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this build video. Go check out the link in the description below to get more information, or maybe get your own system for yourself. And the next video is going to be me riding at a skate park or wherever we end up showing up to, but sky's the limit, and I'm excited about it. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.